welcome back to another episode of the Best Version of You podcast. I'm AJ Roberts, and today I am joined by nobody, just me. I wanted to do this podcast, ladies and gents, and because I wanted to really dive deep into the lessons learned from my recent trip to Sierra Leone in West Africa. Many of you will know that I went there recently and had the most amazing time. It was a huge impact on me. I managed to have a huge impact on the people that I met. I had this big set of goals that I wanted to achieve when I was there, and I hit them tenfold. And the impact that the villages and the demographic and the country as a whole had on me as a person has been instrumental in the way I've been sort of rolling out with things since I've come back, and I've hit the ground running the minute I've landed back here in the UK. So I wanted to do this episode just to go over a few things that I learnt while I was over there. There's only so much that you can take from a couple of Instagram story videos, and there's only so few things you can take from some nice pictures on the beach and stuff like that. So I just wanted to touch base so you know, the viewers and the listeners can get an idea of actually what it was really like for me on the ground out there. Now, give you a bit of a background story. Sierra Leone, as many of you will know, has been highlighted in movies like The Blood Diamond with Leonardo DiCaprio, where there's lots of people being murdered and killed, raped, butchered, all for the Western love of blood diamonds, so to speak. But that's just a small part of it. So between 1991 and 2002, Sierra Leone was involved in a very, very barbaric civil war. It actually started in Liberia next door and it spread over. So all the mutilations and the amputations that you may have heard about actually started in that country, and then it spread into Sierra Leone. So it never actually started the war themselves. This led to the rise of the West Side Boys and the RUF, who tried to uprise and overthrow the government at the time and the presidency. The president was telling the people of Sierra Leone, look guys, you know, we've got all this diamond rich land, let's mine it and we'll sell as much of it as we can and put it all into the economy and make Sierra Leone a really wealthy country. So he was telling the people that the future of the country is in your hands. And that's where the ridiculous, disgusting, barbaric idea came from the West Side Boys, that they would go around and start chopping people's hands off to stop them from mining diamonds and then therefore funding the government's wealth. The stories that you may have heard or read, and certainly the ones that I heard firsthand, are just the most barbaric and disgusting, insane stories you will ever hear. Just to imagine how a human could do some of these things to another human is just beyond me. I've seen my fair share of like horrific, gory shit, and these stories were just another level. You're talking kids as young as 5 years old being gang raped. I'm not going to dive too much into it because I don't want the listeners to turn the podcast off now. You know, I've got quite a bit of good stuff I want to talk about. But it's just harrowing. So the best way I could explain it is if Stephen King was writing a new script and he wanted to make the most barbaric film that had ever been released, he could basically base it on half the stuff that happened there during that civil war. So the civil war's finished. Everyone's in peacetime. Unfortunately, these crazy nut jobs from the RUF and the West Side Boys have amalgamated back into society. The government have rehabilitated them mentally, but what they didn't do, unfortunately, was rehabilitate all the amazing and beautiful amputees and war victims and rape victims that suffered so severely during that conflict. They kind of got left to fend for themselves and have been forgotten about. This led to the amazing charity called Melkosh Mission International being born, and the lovely lady Faith, who owns and runs it solely. She does have the help of others like during the missions, but in terms of driving the charity and like the business, so to speak, because it's a non-profit, so she's always having to raise funds for the next step all the time. She doesn't have like a big cash flow or anything like that. So she's got to heavily rely on like funds coming in, but she started the charity because of her passion and love for the amputees and what they haven't got and the struggles that they have and they're forever going to have with the disabilities that were brought upon them by it was not their fault. It was just barbarism. So every year for the last 12 years, Faith has built this amazing charity called Melkos Mission International, and she's been doing like a formidable job for the last 12 years there, and she's helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of amputees and rape victims. My good friend in America was subsequently out there with Melkos Mission last October, and I seen my friends post all over social media, and I was just commenting on how amazing it was and what a remarkable job they're doing, and it just shows you just how forgotten about the country is, because there's no media over there, there's no British troops or American troops over there, there's no like war, so there's no media outright publishing all these stories about stuff. So like any big events in society, things get forgotten about, and that's exactly what's happened in Sierra Leone, unfortunately. So my friend was over there, and they were trying really just to cascade back to the Western world just how hard these people have it there, and I've seen it with my own eyes, and I kind of fell in love with the concept of like one day being able to go over there and use my resources and my input to be able to go over there and try and make a difference and have an impact on myself at the same time. So Faith reached out to me and spoke to me about everything that they do, and told me everything that they do on all the medical missions, how they help all the people, kind of stuff that they do for the rape victims, the different tests they give people, and they do because they have nothing over there, they don't have this capability. And it absolutely sold it to me. So it was a no-brainer. So I was just like, Faith, tell me what I need to do. When I get the plane, where do I get off? I'm there. When are we going? And that's basically how it all started. And that led me then onto a big fundraising mission over a space of a few months. And for December, which was ridiculously hard, because obviously so many people are gearing up for Christmas and worrying about, what they need to buy for their nephews and grandparents and all this kind of stuff, and needing money for Christmas parties, etc., etc. And companies as well, they're all winding down for the big Christmas break, so they're not looking to actively go, oh yeah, we'll sponsor you for this, we'll sponsor you for that. So December was ridiculously hard for me, and wholeheartedly, I'm quite proud of what we did do in that short space of time, and it did make a big difference. Those of you who've seen the social media posts would have seen that all the money that was raised by individuals through Facebook, through GoFundMe, through personal contributions, went directly to the people. It was phenomenal, and we took over 4 massive boxes of purely medications. So for the 3 medical mission days, people coming in went directly to them. So those of you who are listening and watching, who donated privately to our cause, thank you so much. It was very, very welcomed, and it helped an amazing amount of people. And you guys seen it firsthand on all my social media posts on Facebook and LinkedIn, YouTube, just exactly where it went to. So thank you, it was amazing. So just going into the actual trip itself, we left on early hours of January the 4th, like really early. Had to be at the airport for like 4 o'clock in the morning so we could get all the stuff weighed and wrapped and stuff like that. So there's quite a bit of logistics to sort out. We then got the flight. It was a quick flight to Brussels, and then straight on a little quick changeover, and then from Brussels all the way to Freetown, Sierra Leone. Really easy. Unfortunately, UK doesn't fly to Freetown direct anymore because of the Ebola outbreak, and I'm not sure if they're going to start it up again. Hopefully they do for future missions. But for the meantime, this is the route you've got to take. So we touched down in Sierra Leone. The airport's on a little island. We then have to get a water taxi over to the mainland, where we were met by Faith's brother. By this time it was dark, so I couldn't really see much. But being a very curious person, being ex-military, and being quite excited about this whole journey, I was really intrigued and just sticking my head out the window and just really getting straight into it straight away. So it was pretty pretty awesome from the off. And the minute you get off the plane, Sierra Leone is right in front of you for all to see. It is it's unreal. And I literally mean that as soon as you walk out of the airport, you've literally got like shanty towns right in front of you. People selling water, people selling anything. You can just put your hand up and say, I want sponges, and someone will come running over out of somewhere. Like everybody is selling something. So it was quite remarkable. So we got to our hotel, and then the next day we were straight into it, straight into the villages, and that's where it hit me big time. I walked straight in and I fell in love with the community, the people, the staff that were helping, face mum and her auntie who were doctors. It was just an amazing place. In one corner you had kids playing with old tyres and old sticks, just like we used to do with our kids, and that was something I was really looking forward to, is just bringing back all those old memories and stuff that I used to do with my brothers and my friends. But just seeing them happy and free-willed was just something else, and it was a blessing really, because I've not seen that for so long. You see, when you see that, and then you compare that to what we live in now here in Western worlds, you know, people, adults, kids, people watching this video on YouTube, listening to this podcast, we're so reliant on our phones and speaking to people on different apps, and you know, replying to messages and just being so quick to react to what other people are saying and doing. We forget about like being free, and just watching these kids and even the adults just having so much less worries and less stresses than we experience, which we set up upon ourselves. We've made a rod for our own back here. That the pace of life in England, America, Canada, Australia, you know, all the Western countries, Europe, we've made this rod for our back that we've set the pace of life so quickly that we need this technology to kind of keep up with it, or we fall behind. And when you speak to the people in the villages and the children, they do live day to day, because obviously they got to concentrate on, you know, making sure they got water, making sure they've got some food and stuff like that to get through it. But they don't have to worry about turning up on time for work if they haven't got a job. They don't have to worry about posting things on social media or being in places at certain times. It's very, very relaxed, and you can tell in the attitudes of the people because of this. The way they talk to you is all very, very relaxed, and they're all happy and chilled. Don't get me wrong, they want to move out of the conditions they're in. This is another big, massive plus for me. The whole place as a whole, from child upwards, are so determined to become better versions of themselves. They want better, they seek better. They don't seek greed, they don't seek lots of money, they just seek a better way of life. And by that I mean being able to have a shower every day, having 3 meals a day, having enough money to put food on the table for the family, be able to, you know, go to a football game at night time on a Saturday night, or have a couple of beers. They just want to be more comfortable in what they're in, because what they are in is in poverty. However, it's their poverty, it's their life, and it's just amazing and so humbling to see. So straight away, I was just really taken back by just how welcoming they were as a community and as a demographic. I just felt so safe. They loved the fact that I'm a British veteran from the British Army. Obviously, they're very, very welcoming to the British Army over there, because you know, we saved them on a lot of occasions from a lot of atrocities, and drove the West Side Boys and like the RUF out of there. So to be welcomed like that on completely like the opposite side of the world was just a remarkable feeling. You know, it's hard to explain, but they just literally welcomed me with open arms, to the point where the children wouldn't let go of me. I made such an amazing rapport with the kids. They were just hands-on all the time. There was often times I just wanted to go for a sneaky wee, but I'd have like 10 kids fighting to hold my hand, but it was just beautiful at the same time. So you can just imagine what it was like for me. The reason why I was like that, I thought, is because I wasn't reserved at all. I didn't just sit there and just look around, see what was going on. I just got straight in there, telling them I am your friend, and I am going to do right by you, and I am going to help you. I'm going to help inspire you to lift yourselves up and try and get yourselves individually and as a family out of the situation you're in, and we're going to do it together. That was my goal, and it paid off massively. I literally built this amazing relationship with the women, the children, the elders, like all of them straight away, and they had so much respect for me and so many questions, and likewise I did to them. I was so keen to learn what day-to-day life was like, what the struggles were, what they did for fun. Obviously football was a very big topic. They are football mad over there, just like we are in England. There was an occasion, and I posted a photo on social media. I've got a couple of the guys who are arguing over who was the most successful football team, Manchester United or Liverpool. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, guys. Football and Manchester United Liverpool arguments happen everywhere, and I seen it with my two eyes. It was quite funny, but they do stuff together, and they, like many great communities do, they lift each other and they're there for each other in bad times and in good times. They want to see people win. They want to see people do well. When I mean people do well, what people really thrive for there and seek is education. Education is huge in Sierra Leone, and it literally means power. It gets you out from your shanty town or hut, and it progresses you and helps you get places. It really does. The only problem is it is a form of corruption within the government and within higher states and higher powers. By that I mean, those of you, if you tune into my YouTube channel and you see some of the interviews I did with some of the guys that have done all their schooling, they've done their exams, and they've had all their exam results withheld. Now, they've been withheld because that particular governing body or examining body or the school that's marking the exams do not believe in the party that's in power in the hot seat at the minute, who's in the presidency. So what they do is they en masse, they withhold like school results and grades, so it makes the current government look bad, and it makes all the results look bad. That's how kind of corrupt it is, and it's pretty shocking, really. And that's an unfortunate event, like many other countries in the world, where it is a third world country, and then you have people in power, people abuse that power rather than empower people. They choose greed. They choose to try and do whatever it takes to sit in the seat where they are as long as possible and not move from it. Same for the presidency. So I found that there's this huge suppression of like-minded, ambitious people that just want to go on and do something better in their life. And they were everywhere to be seen, everywhere you looked. You know, people's key message to me was that they just want to get educated. They don't want me to stand there giving handouts of loads of money. They just want an education, and honestly, you cannot ask for more than that. Somebody that wants to be educated, especially from a country like where I'm from England, and the same in America and Australia and other countries like that, where we have free schooling. My kids go to school for free, you know, and they have to go to school. If I don't put them in school, I do jail time. So it's quite sad, really, when you realise the amount of people in our countries that abuse the free schooling system, or the children that just don't make the most of it and they leave with absolutely nothing, and then go on to do absolutely nothing. So it's amazing to see these beautiful, amazing people that just want to get an education and be a better version of themselves and go on and help them and their families lead a better life. So all that was within day one that I got all that. I got that kind of message. I did a big talk with everybody, and I finished the day running a amputee football match. Now, many of you would have seen the football game I was advertising about it and explaining what it entails, but when I actually posted the videos of the guys that were playing, you would have seen they're all single leg amputees who play on crutches. It was just amazing to see how quick they were getting around with these sets of crutches and using their only able leg to be able to kick the ball. It was tactical. They knew what they were doing. They were aggressive. They were, they got really up for it. It was like a proper game. Everyone around was watching and cheering, like you would expect any normal football match. There was fans cheering on both sides, and at some points it got quite heated between them, and it was getting a bit argy-bargy. But it was nothing less to be expected from a football game where stakes are high. But it was, again, just watching the determination and the courage that these young amputee men showed. Even people in goal only had one able arm. Even the amputees that had one able arm, it was just phenomenal. So it was so good to see all that community come together and just enjoy a great little afternoon. I then gave out some medals that I took over with me, which they absolutely loved. They thought it was like the best thing ever. So it just shows you something so simple can make a huge difference to people's lives and the community's lives. And that's the impact I was able to have on just that first day. And the impact it had on me was second to none. Those of you who speak to my wife, that you only have to ask her what I was like on the phone, on FaceTime to her and my kids. It was just amazing. So going back to the hotel on that second night, it was so much to reflect on. The hotel itself was absolutely beautiful. We ended up having a private chalet on the beachfront in Toka, and we were placed there because the hotel staff absolutely loved what we were doing and what we were there for, the missions that we were carrying out. Also spoke with the owner and said that I had big plans to come back every year and come back with a team of people that want to come with me to do great stuff out there and help people with more medical missions. And he said he absolutely loved the idea, so he put me and Faith in a beachfront chalet, and we literally opened our doors in the morning. You were on the white sand. It was just phenomenal. So it was really good to get that feel for the country and the amazing beaches and the lifestyle that it has to offer, as well as going inland into the rural villages where the amputees live, and then helping people with day-to-day struggles and healthcare. So it was really great to get a bit of both worlds. Day two was very much about the rape victims and the people who had suffered disgusting atrocities. I mean, don't get me wrong, all the amputees out there had horrendous things happen to them. But day two really hit home for me just how horrible humans can be. I spent quite some time chatting with a beautiful lady who was gang raped at 5 years old. How that is achieved, can happen, I do not know. During which time she had her left arm amputated. She was penetrated by some metal rod, and she'll never have kids ever in her life. Her cervix is completely shot because of what happened, and her parents were both murdered. So apologies for being a bit graphic, and apologies if any of you, that made any of you cry. It certainly did when I actually spoke to a few people face to face about it this week. But that's the realities of what happens and how bad it was. And I was speaking to these ladies, and this lady in particular, who are going on to want to be a scientist, a doctor. I mean, you can't do anything, just want to give these people the biggest hug in the world and just feel the positivity coming out of somebody who's been through all that. It is just amazing. So I was so keen to spend some time with these ladies, and one thing I wanted to achieve, which I did, was that when they first turned up, they all looked quite defeated. They all looked quite broken. They all looked like they had no direction of what they wanted to do, because they were just so churned up with this mental block of what happened in the past. So I was really keen to have a big talk with them at the end, and I asked all the ladies as a collective, what are the two most powerful words in the world? A few of the ladies were saying courage, discipline. I said no. I said the two most powerful words in the world are I am. They looked a bit baffled. I said the words I am make the difference to everything that happens to your life. Now, what follows them will be the trajectory of your life. So if it's always negative, you'll have a negative life. So if you follow the words I am with, I am never going to be someone, I am never going to amalgamate to anything, I am depressed, I am sad, I am lonely, you'll always lead that life. Now, I stood the ladies up and I asked them to repeat after me. And I said, I am beautiful. And they all shouted, I am beautiful. I am strong. And then I said, I am going to be whatever I choose to be. And they all said exactly the same thing, and they were all clapping, and they all started singing this amazing song, and it was just like, it was just phenomenal. And then the ladies left the amputee camp and went on their way to different directions and their different homes and different suburbs, but they all left this huge smile on their face. So for me, it was just a huge achievement to be able to get them from a state of sort of anxiety, like depressive, not knowing what they want to do. They didn't know if they were going to be told something from the doctors and nurses that they might not have known, because obviously they didn't get checkups and stuff like that at regular GPs. So for them all to leave there with a huge smile on their face was really heartwarming for me. Towards the end of my trip, I managed to have a beach day, so I could actually take in the whole of the surroundings, and even I got to speak to some amazing people while I was at the actual hotel. We were staying there as well. That's one of the little key things I wanted to talk about was while I was there, I posted some videos and and some photos and stuff in my Facebook group, the best version of you, and also on my normal social feeds, and asking people what their big word for 2020 was. Now, I had loads of different answers, but I said for me, my biggest word for 2020 was connections. Now, people ask why. People can certainly see why straight away. Now, I'll give you an example. The hotel I was staying at, there was a Dutch couple who was at breakfast every morning, and they asked me what I was doing there. Now, I said to them, we're here to help the amputees. They've been forgotten about. We want to give them the best care we can. And it turns out these couple are dental specialists, and they come over to try and train future dentists once a year. And it turns out that there's 8 million people in Sierra Leone, and there's only 8 dentists. Yes, that's right. So there's one dentist for every 1 million people. So I saw an opportunity straight away to ask for them to collaborate with us on future missions, so that when we go to the amputee camps, we can actually get them to give the amputees and the rape victims and the war victims free dental checkups as well. For many of them, it will be the first time ever, and some of them are in their 40s and 50s. So it was pretty special to be able to build that relationship. And that's just one example of the relationships I managed to build over there, and the relationships that I've built on LinkedIn since on my journey, on my trip, and since I've come back. Now, since I've come back, I've had multiple companies and people message me asking me how to get involved in future missions, because they've now seen somebody on the ground, they've seen someone deliver like aid out there, they've seen someone show the world that it's not full of little kids running around with AK-47s and the naive thoughts that we might have in the Western world about Sierra Leone. It's really peaceful, really welcoming, and the people just want help and they just want to be able to get on in life. So people have been messaging me in droves asking me how to get involved, which has been amazing, which is what I wanted to achieve. And that's all part of the making the connections part. So since January the 1st, it has just been 100 miles an hour, making connections with some of the most amazing, influential people I could have imagined to have made, and tenfold on what I made last year, for example. So that was what the key message that I wanted to give people from my trip, that it was not all about getting on a plane and helping people out and getting a bit of a suntan. It was all about doing right for as many people as possible who desperately need it. Using my resources that I have. I don't find this difficult. I look at the situation and go, well, I can do this, isn't this really easy? Bang. Like, why wouldn't I do that? And funnily enough, we all have the resources, ladies and gents, to help anybody, anyone to our left, anyone to our right. It's whether you choose to. It's all about the choice that you find yourself in. Do you choose to help someone, or do you choose to shrug it off and go down your own path with just you walking it? We're in those situations every day. We all have the capacity and the resources of some form to be able to do good and help somebody, whether that's your neighbour or whether it's a whole community. The choice is completely up to you. So on a daily basis, I found myself out there connecting with people, instantly using the resources that I know I've got available, and then creating the opportunities, giving those resources that I can call upon to make things happen for the future. Now, since I've come back, it's been absolutely phenomenal. I've been connecting with some amazing big influencers online, some ex-professional athletes, people coming onto my podcast. It's been absolutely fantastic. And I'm just going to build and build and build and build and build on that to build this empire and legacy to help as many people as I can over in Sierra Leone, but also back here in the UK, because it's had such a big impact on me personally. I've now scaled and taken my own skills and ambitions to the next level. So all my coaching clients are benefiting and reaping from the new sort of like the value and the content and the ideas and the training that I can deliver to people as well. So stepping outside my comfort zone, so to speak, to go to the other side of the world, to put myself in the deep end in a huge community as a minority, to do good for others, has done nothing but make a massive positive impact on me, my family, my coaching clients, the people around me, the people I meet, the future connections I'm making. It's just snowballed into nothing but greatness, and it continues to do so, and I'm not going to let that momentum slip. So to that end, anybody who wants to join my power team of making shit happen in Sierra Leone with me, please get in touch. There is a seat on the plane for you if you want to come and make a difference to some of the most amazing, remarkable, beautiful people you will ever meet in your life. Okay, just simply get in touch with me. It can be on any of my social channels, email. Just reach out and just say, AJ, mate, I love what we've done. I could see some amazing opportunities there, and I'm telling you, there's opportunities for life. There's that much opportunities there. I'm building this team solid. We're building on corporate sponsors who are going to forever help fund the trips for us to do the amazing work. We're going to be building schools. We're going to be educating more people. We're getting more people healthier, fitter. I'm not going to be running football coaching programs over there. The list is endless. If you've got an idea, bring it to me. Bring it to the table, and I will help make it happen. Okay. Again, using my resources to make shit happen for the benefit of other people and wider communities. That's what it's all about, ladies and gents. So my final thoughts are on the whole Sierra Leone trip. As I just said, it's changed me in a massive positive way. It's made a huge difference on the way I look at like everything, materials. You know, people out there have nothing, so I've often found myself looking at something and go, well, do I really need that? Do my kids really need that? You know, my kids have everything. Like, what benefit is it going to have other than the fact that all their mates have got it? You know, do they really need it? And that's a conversation I found myself having with my children since I've returned, and they're starting to get the idea, which is great. And I said that while I was out there. You know, it'd be great for kids to come out and see just how much the kids and people out there don't have, and how easy we have it back here in the UK and the Western world. So the trip as a whole has completely changed me for the better. Not saying I was in a bad place or a bad person, but everything, the impact it has had on my wife, my family, my close friends, my inner circle, my wider connections, has just been nothing but amazing. And it's something I'm going to be doing every year. So like I said, if you want to get involved with me, please knock on the door and come with. You will not regret it. Male Cross Mission International, the charity, literally hands down one of the best charities I've ever come across. You know, like I said, every penny goes to the people, and the fact it's been going for 12 years and done the work it has done can only be applauded. And to be associated with Faith, the owner, I'm just so proud. I know she's going to be listening. I know she's going to be watching. Faith, I love you. Thank you for bringing me on board. Thank you for showing me this amazing community and part of the world. So on that note, guys, all I've got to really say, if you've got a dream or an aspiration or something on paper, a goal that you want to achieve, just go out and do it, please. Okay, I thought about this long and hard on the plane on the way over, and I thought about it long and hard on the plane on the way back. The amount of times that I've sat there, talked about doing something or wrote something down or said, yeah, I want to do that. And the opportunities come around and I've not taken the chance. Okay, take your chances, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your chances. If one thing I can tell you out of this whole experience is that people over there had their lives taken away from them that did not deserve it, and I'm talking in the thousands. Not only did they have an 11-year civil war, they also had Ebola, and then after Ebola they had a horrific mudslide, which people are still buried under. So you can appreciate just how precious our lives are, and then obviously see day to day the poverty that people live in. We here in the Western world have it so fucking easy. It is unbelievable. Okay, we've got this amazing platform in front of us to lead one of the best life that we can imagine. Okay, we all have this one vehicle called our body, which 90% of us in the Western world abuse through alcohol, drugs, tobacco, like fatty foods, and that we literally beast our bodies to the extreme and our minds when it's totally unneeded. It's totally unnecessary and it's a total waste. So please, if you've got a goal, if you want to travel somewhere, if you want to lose that bit of weight, like, do not sit on the fence any longer. Break that fence. Get off the fucking fence and go and start doing something. Okay? Do whatever you want to do. Any of us can achieve what we want to achieve. Okay? If that means going out and connecting with more people to make that happen, go and fucking do it. Okay? I can't stress that enough. We live in a world of technology nowadays where connecting with people is an instant thing. Okay, go on LinkedIn. You can connect with as many people as you want. Apply to send friends requests. There's loads of people on Facebook who are doing the things that you want to do and learn from them. Okay, don't get caught up in these little inner circles in the communities that you live in, full of people who are just negative and who want to just sit there and do nothing with their lives, not venture out of wherever they want to live. They just want to sit there, drink in the local pub and just talk shite about everybody else who lives there. Okay, don't be that person. Make your inner circle thick of influence of positivity, people who will lift you up, people who you see you win. If you've got people you know that slag you off and this and ever, they're not your friends. Just chin them off. You've got no need. There's no need to even listen to them. Okay, I have loads, like people that used to be in the army, like, yeah, AJ this is doing this, AJ doing that. Like, I could not give a flying fuck. They're just screaming inside at themselves, okay, at what they're not doing or what they can't do because they're tied down. Okay, they're not angry at you personally, they're angry with themselves. So you just ignore them. Okay, don't listen to anyone else, don't listen to anyone else's opinions. If you want to go and do something, go and do it, please. Okay. If that's joining me and my team to help people in Sierra Leone, don't sit on the fence, come and join me. It will be the best thing you will ever do. Okay? Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you learned something about my amazing trip. I hope you learned something about the impact it had on me. I hope you learned something about, maybe yourself and how you might have something that you've wanted to achieve for a number of years and you just haven't had that little push to get it. Hopefully my experience may help you do that. I'm always here if you want to reach out, if you want to get in touch, if you want to talk about it, if you just need that little nudge, you can contact me on all my platforms. I'm pretty much on at AJ Roberts Coaching across all platforms, and also at Mr. AJ Roberts on TikTok now. Okay, I've been dragged into it with my daughter. But thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the nice comments and the reviews, especially on the podcast. It's fantastic. So please keep coming back. The next few months you're going to see phenomenal guests on, ladies and gents. You are not going to believe how good these guests are. Okay, they've got like so many nuggets and so many inspirational stories. But for today, from me, please go out there and be the best version of you.